Have you heard the new song Luosha Sea City by Daolang? There has been a lot of controversy about this song. Today, let's not talk about the controversy, but discuss the background of the song. Luosha Sea City is a short story from the collection of ghost tales, Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio, written by Pu Songling, a Ming Dynasty writer. This song shares the same title with the story, and its lyrics are also inspired by it. So if you want to understand why Dao Lang wrote this song, you must first understand this story by Pu Songling. The protagonist of Luosha Sea City is a character called Ma Ji, the son of a businessman. Ma Ji is first of all very handsome, and everyone in the surrounding villages praised him for his good looks and charm. Moreover, he was talented in singing and dancing, and passed the imperial examination at the age of 14. This provoked a lot of envy. Maji's father was quite unconventional. Instead of wishing his son to gain fame through the imperial examination, he forced Maji to enter the business world. As a result, Maji put down the books of the sages and chose to travel overseas for trade. On one such journey, the ship was caught in a storm, which leads to a series of extraordinary events. Of course, Maji survived. Otherwise, how would the story go on? After regaining consciousness, Maji found himself in a strange place where the people were all incredibly ugly. The strange thing was that when they saw Maji, they would shout, "Monster," and scatter in all directions. Maji wondered if he had been disfigured by the shipwreck. He rushed to the water's edge to look at his reflection and discovered that, despite his ragged clothes, his looks remained unchanged. So what was going on? As Maji was pondering this, he entered a village and found that the villagers looked more normal. When the villagers saw this unexpected outsider, they did not panic. Instead, they came up to him and asked about his background. When Maji explained that he was from the Central Plains, the villagers were surprised and said, "So that's why you look so strange." This puzzled Maji. What did they mean by strange? He questioned the villagers, pointing out that they looked similar to him. The villagers then revealed that they were considered the ugliest people in the Luosha kingdom, and that normal people would avoid them. It turns out that after the shipwreck, Maji was carried by the ocean currents to this Luosha kingdom. In this country, the standard of beauty was different. The most beautiful person would be the king or the prime minister, while those slightly less attractive would serve as officials, and even those who were less attractive could still be loved and praised by the nobility. When Maji heard this, he became defiant. He insisted on going to see the beautiful men of the Luosha kingdom, dragging the villagers along. Upon arriving in the capital, they happened to catch the end of the tide and saw government officials coming out from work. A large palanquin was passing through the crowd, and the villagers quickly told Maji that the handsome man inside was the prime minister of Luosha. When Maji looked up, he was dumbfounded. The prime minister had ears that grew backwards, a nose with 3 holes, and eyelashes that were tangled like a door curtain. The rest of the government officials followed suit. The lower the rank, the more normal their appearance. This made Maji realize that the standards of beauty in the Luosha kingdom were completely reversed from those in the Central Plains. By their standards, his appearance would indeed be considered extremely ugly. No wonder people would scream "monster" when they saw him. But he didn't have time to dwell on the reasons for this reversal of standards. The key was how to survive in this Luosha kingdom. Maji thought of a solution. If it was difficult to become more attractive, wouldn't it be easier to become ugly? He used eyebrow powder as a prop, randomly smearing it on his face, messing up his hair, and speaking with exaggerated expressions. And it worked. This foreign visitor quickly became a popular figure in the streets and alleys of the Luosha kingdom due to his high beauty value. Even the king of Luosha was curious when he heard about this handsome stranger and summoned Maji to the palace. The king had a peculiar appearance, lotus pod face, ears like a fan, tusks like steel hooks, and a pointed mouth that was 3 feet long. When he saw Maji's dirt-covered face, he was delighted. After a few rounds of wine and merriment, the king asked Maji to perform a foreign dance to entertain the court. Maji obliged, but instead of using his usual graceful dancing style, he stumbled and twisted awkwardly. He also sang an old-fashioned song with a strained voice. As Maji expected, the king and ministers watched the performance and regarded this foreign guest as a heavenly man. That very day, they appointed Maji as an official. Thus, this young man, Maji, by acting silly and ugly, became a superior person in Luosha country. However, achieving success in this way brought mixed feelings each day. Even though he was dressed in brocade and jade, he couldn't bear the guilt in his conscience. Maji ran away, and this marks the first half of the story of Luosha Sea City. Daolang's song primarily references the first half of the story, while the second half actually involves a big twist. After leaving Luosha Kingdom, Maji arrived at a place called Sea City, which was the total opposite of Luosha Kingdom. Everyone there was beautiful and loved wealth. Maji even married a dragon lady there. Later, missing his parents, and since the dragon lady from Sea City could not return with him to the human world, the couple had to part ways, though reluctantly. At their farewell, the dragon lady poured out her heart, saying that even though they would be living in two different places, their hearts would remain united. They were the perfect couple. She would remain faithful to him, and he should not marry again, even in old age. After returning to his hometown, Maji took care of his parents until their death, remaining single all his life. At the end of the story of Luosha Sea City, the author, Pu Songling, left a comment that those who are willing to pander and reverse the standards of beauty and ugliness are everywhere, and the ideal world can only be found in a mirage like Sea City. Pu Songling's life was quite tragic. He repeatedly failed in the imperial examination and only managed to get a position due to his age at 71, similar to getting into university in his twilight years. He passed away 4 years later. This story, Luosha Sea City, is a protest against the real world by Pu, who considered himself a great talent. The reason Daolang's Luosha Sea City is considered to be targeting specific individuals is related to some details in the lyrics. For example, there's a line that says, "She has 2 ears next to her shoulders and a 3-holed nose. She turns around before she speaks." This can be interpreted as the lyricist's description of the monsters and demons in Luosha country, but it also seems to refer to the scenario where a judge turns around on a music talent show. Daolang is known to be a storyteller, so everything lines up perfectly. However, who exactly Luosha Sea City is targeting is not important. Perhaps what Daolang really wants to say is that it's alarming how the monstrous and devilish behavior of chasing after fame and profit has turned from a story into reality.